from Slow Some Match. I got the practical shoot. Grand Master Jared in Carry Optics.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Which is an Auto M in limited optics. He beat Cobra by.
But I'm in limited optics without an Auto M. 91.99.
Oh yeah. He
less than 4 match points.
He is actually like 2%. I'm at 90% limited optics master, and he's like a 92%. So he's 2% higher. So he beat me by 3.6 match points. He got fourth place overall. I got 5th place overall. What a freaking jerk face. Freaking jerk face. He goes master, and he beats Master Cobra first weekend with 3. You know what that 3.6 match points was?
Charlie.
No. It was that perf no. I got a perf no shoot. So the way perf no shoots work is you get the, so it's double alpha no shoot, and I get the penalty for -10. So I get my 2 alpha, so I get my 10 points, and I get a -10. So it's basically a 0 on the target versus an alpha mic no shoot would be 5 points, -10 on the mic, -10 on the no shoot. So it's -20 points. Actually, it's -25 points because you don't even get the hits. So you get 5 points for the first Charlie, -20 in penalties, and you don't get 5 points. So I had 5 and 5, -10, so I got 0. That's the difference between 4th place and 5th place and losing to this mofo right here.
That's right.
What a jerk. So let's talk about the match. I see JCL1 is yelling Cobra in the chat. Shout out to you. Awesome, man. I don't think we've interacted on YouTube before, but thank you for being here. And so this is my second chat ever. Same day, second chat. We decided to do this as a post-match thing. We're still driving back from the match. It's like a 2-hour drive. We're halfway there. We had some pizza, beer, and chicken wings stopping by as a break for the 1-hour session. We had some internet trouble where I was getting cutting in it because we're in the mountains, whatever, right? So this is part 2 of this conversations on the way back with Grand Master Jared right there. So follow him on Instagram. He is Jared_RW, which is Ravenwing. That's his company that he is one of the co-owners for. He does training and other stuff. Awesome shooter, awesome guy. Grandmaster in carry optics, master in limited optics. I convinced him to shoot. You're like a
47%.
47% in carry
Hardest
optics.
flex ever.
I'm a 92 point something percent in carry optics, and this mofo is a master at 47%. See, this is the benefits of being Grandmaster in division in limited optics is, okay, so classification, you auto upgrade to all of your other divisions that you're classified in as one class below. So if you're Grandmaster, you're Master. If you're A, you're B class in your other divisions. So he's D class auto M's once you GM in but this dude earned his.
I'm not a gun
no, seriously, like this guy is a GM in carry optics. He earned this. Okay, so I've been shooting with he's driving around. He's my chauffeur. So we have been shooting a lot together in the past year and a half. He's been chauffeuring me around to matches for about 6 months to a year now. So all of our level 2 matches, and like this one's like I said, 2.5 hours away, whatever, right? So I drive to his house, he drives me. He's my chauffeur, he's an awesome dude, but he is literally he's an awesome shooter. He's been chasing this GM dream for whatever. I've been chasing dream. He beat me. I was trying to beat him and awesome shooter, GM and carry optics, but I'm gonna beat that mofo in production. I convinced this guy to shoot production, and it was carry optics, right? Production and carry optics, his first match. So I'm like, okay, you know, he sees me improving in production, he sees me smashing my reloads, and I told him, like, okay, when you shoot production, for like 6 months, and this is like not an exaggeration, right? If you shoot every match in production for 6 months, your reloads, you will smash those things in classifiers faux show, because 1 minute later. Sorry guys, bad connection, we're driving. So when you do, what were we talking about?
Production.
Oh, production, right. So when you shoot production for a year, or 6 months even, right? Like, you see all these YouTubers, I'm going to show you my awesome reloads and whatever, right? And yeah, that's BS, right, dude? Like unless you're like Ben Stager or like Cobra, like, your reloads suck, okay? So, like, you need to be like, actually, Jay Clay's another, like, Jay Clay is freaking awesome, right? Okay. So anyway, so Ben Stager, Jay Clay, and Cobra, like, have the top reloads in the entire, like, universe, right? So, like, us three dominate, right? But bottom line is, you shoot production. Your reloads in an actual match versus, like, in your garage, and, like, I'm going to edit my YouTube videos to, like, show you my best reloads out of, like, 100, right? So I'll pick the best 3 and show you, like, the best 3 out of 100. So, like, yeah, that's BS, right? When you shoot production, actually have to reload in a match to get better. I'm 92%. Sorry guys, we're driving. You shoot production, and your reload, you start smashing, like, your production. So, or your reloads. So he started shooting production, and he beat me, I don't know, by like, 5% or less than 5%, whatever, right? So the first match he shoots production, and he gets first place, and I get second place, and I usually, like, destroy everyone, right? They give you the freebie to, like, get you addicted, and then you come back, and then, like, you want to share. And so, like, he got his first match win in production against Master Cobra, and then the second match I just cracked all over your face.
14%.
Like he was, like, not even close to me. So yeah, so that's what you do, like, when you're friends with someone, is you give them that false sense of security to, like, lure them in, and you just freaking destroy them. Like, ah! But this mofo is a master in limited optics now, because you he's legit master limited optics. You're like 92. I'm only at 90%, but I was one of the first masters in limited optics. You can't ever take that from me. I was one of the, and I had pink eye, or it wasn't a pink eye. It was like I had conjunctivitis, or I had something in my eye. I literally couldn't see. I made a video, so, like, I had some eye infection where I couldn't see. Made master in, like, the first 2 weeks of, like, it going live. So you'll never be able to top that ever. Yeah. So, but this mofo, first match shooting limited optics, is 3.6 match points, which is literally, I had a no shoot perf line. That, or like 1 Charlie, is the difference between me bragging to his face on the way home, because he got fourth place. He got 4th place overall. I got 5th place overall, and that was in limited optic, like, overall match against Open and PCC and all the other guys. So he has bragging rights over Master Cobra again. I'm trying to build him up. I'm trying to, like, I'm gonna crap all over your confident, like, when we go to, so next week we're going to Arizona State Championships, which is level 2 in Arizona. He's driving right. You can see he's driving right now. He's my driver. He's driving me to Arizona State. I feel so blessed to have such a nice friend to drive. I can't beat him all the time because he won't drive me anymore. That's my excuse, is I have to, like, let him win, because then he'll be like, oh, okay, I could drive you so I can brag on the way home that I beat Master Cobra. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, so he crapped all over my face today by 3.6 points. So what do you have to say about that?
Good match. My first match with the 92X Defensive from Langdon Tactical. I like the gun a lot. The single action is amazing. It's going to take a few more rounds because it's different than my other gun, but love it. I had a lot of fun. And it's reloads with the Magwell are like cheating.
So,
like just flick your wrist, just throw it at the gun and it goes in.
Well, not even with the Magwell. Like, the 92X Performance. So Jared is actually sponsored by Langdon Tactical, and we're both not sponsored by Beretta, because we're not going to get into that. But we're both not sponsored by Beretta, but we both shoot Berettas, right? And I'm like one of the OG Beretta like guys, and this guy was shooting a Glock beforehand. He finally switched to Beretta. He saw the light. So we both shoot Berettas, and we're known as Beretta shooters. But he's actually sponsored by Langdon Tactical. This guy right here, and the 92X Performance is their steel frame performance gun, obviously, right? So it's their single action. It was their competition steel frame pistol that they were kind of getting into to compete against the Shadow 2 and 1911s, whatever. So it's basically their like 1911 Shadow 2, right? Because it's a frame-mounted safety, steel framed. But because it's steel framed and the grips are different than a regular Beretta 92, the internal, it's not a magwell, but like the internal mag, what is it called? It's a magwell, but it's not a magwell, right? But it's not an external, but their built-in internal magwell is literally the biggest opening of all of the carry outdoors production guns, right? That's why I shoot in production, is because it's better than like the Langdon, it's better than the M9A1, the 92 Shadow 2. It's better than all of those, right? I've shot Shadow 2s, I've shot Walthers, I've shot all of the steel frame guns. You see them in my videos. So without an external magwell, the 92X Performance has the widest opening of any competition production gun there is out there. Production meaning like mass produced, right? Not a custom gun. And so it's cheating when you throw on the Lock Grips magwell. It's literally cheating. It's a black hole. And so we shot limited optics and carry optics today. I shot my 92X Performance in carry optics, and my limited optics gun was the 92X. Well, sorry, my carry optics gun was the 92X Performance defensive, and my limited optics gun was the Performance with the Lock Grips magwell that I helped design and gave feedback on to get it to what it is. So if you're shooting the Lock Grips magwell, shout out to you guys, awesome. Tell Blake and everyone at Lock Grips that Cobra is the man because I'm so awesome. And this guy bought one because Cobra said so, and because it's awesome. And facts matter. Science matters, guys. So it's a black hole. Science matters, and it's a black hole, sucks in the mag, and it's awesome. But seriously though, the 92X Performance has the biggest opening of any regular production level gun. So I've been shooting production, carry optics, limited 10, limited with the gun, like the platform the entire year, and it's been like the best thing ever. So Jared is actually sponsored by Langdon Tactical, so he shoots carry optics with the Langdon, the LTT.
92G LTT Elite, yep.
And then for limited optics, you're shooting the Performance Defensive with the Langdon cut, because it's a lower cut and has backup sights, which actually came into play today. Was that on carry optics?
That was carry optics. Yeah.
So this fool to my left, this fool right here to my left, I say that in a loving tone there, because he beat me by 3.6 match points today in limited optics. But this fool here didn't turn his dot on, or was it on, or he inadvertently turned it on? It was off.
Bag it to change guns, and when it was in the bag, I somehow turned it off.
So the Beretta with the Langdon sights. Oh, there goes my. I had beer earlier in the break. Sorry, guys.
So Langdon's plate comes
with backup sights.
Backup sights installed on it that you can't take off unless you shave them off yourself.
So
I left them on with the suppressor height front sight, and when the dot wasn't on, I was hunting for it on the first target and was like, normally my index is always there, but it wasn't there. So I moved to the second target and it wasn't there, and then I moved to the third target, it wasn't there, and then I was like, all right, the dot's off, let's go to iron sights.
But the dude went 1-for-1 on steel, and so I wasn't ROing, but I was watching him, and I'm like, usually he's faster than this. Like, he's over confirming his dot, and then he tells me after, he's like, my dot wasn't on. And I was like, iron sight backup, right? So it's like when iron sight backups actually become a thing, like in a match, because otherwise you would have zeroed that stage.
Yeah, there was
right?
5 pieces of steel.
Yeah,
And no shoots.
Yeah,
it would have been terrible.
And your time is actually pretty good for
Still
like
sub-20.
for like backup sites, right? It's like 19 point something, whatever, right?
Of course, probably 3 seconds off.
Par time was like 17 or 18 seconds, so it wasn't that far off the par time, but like that, like this is like the 1 in 1,000 times that you're gonna need your backup sites that it actually like mattered, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because I have a Langdon Tactical LTT Elite slide. I took my backups. I actually took off my front sight because I can't stand it. Just to me, I'm very aesthetic. I'm a pretty person. I like the way I look, and I want my guns to look that. The front sight being so high looks ugly to me. So I knocked that out and actually took a belt sander and I sanded down my rear sight. So there's no backup sights on my Cara Optics gun with the Langdon Tactical, but it worked out for you.
Sure did.
Yeah, 1 in 1,000 right there. Because I mean, you probably shot 1,000 stages with it, right? Yeah,
At least.
Yeah. First time he's needed it. So, but again, Grandmaster Jared. His YouTube channel is Practical Shooting Giant, and his IG is Jared _RW. Yep.
Hey, so when we left off last time, though, we left off talking about mag follows.
Yes. Well, I'm trying to give you the shout out, right? So let me give you some background of Jared, right? So not only is Jared my chauffeur, you are my chauffeur. Yeah, he's my chauffeur, right? So not only is Jared my chauffeur, and not only does he shoot Berettas, the dude's like 6'5". You're 6'5".
6'6".
Dude's 6'6". That's why he's giant. Actually, I named you the Practical Shooting Giant.
You did. Yep.
So I coined his Instagram term because he needed help from Cobra, and so he's a Practical Shooting Giant, but he's 6'6". But the dude is a solid shooter. Okay, so his company is Raven Wing. He's one of the owners there. He does training. He does other stuff. I literally shoot with you 2 to 3 times a month.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. He's one of my closest friends as a shooter. I go to more matches with him and more major matches than anyone else right now, and he literally chauffeurs me around, and we get pizza and beer after matches, and we shoot the shit. I can't say the S word. It's maybe banned. Sorry. We shoot the S on the way back from these long drives because, like, he drives me to Arizona, which is like an 8-hour. I drove once to Arizona and I told him I'm never driving, and then he volunteered to drive me, and then he's been driving me ever since. So it's like an 8-hour drive to Arizona. We go to matches 3 hours away, and he drives me. So Practical Shooting Giant, he's awesome, nicest guy. He's an awesome shooter. Police ahead, according to Waze. We're by the ocean, guys. You can see you can't see the ocean. It's maybe you can. So anyway, we're driving back from our 3-hour drive from the match. We travel far this is the level 1, by the way, that we're traveling to. So I see a shout out from JCL1. He says, we never chatted, but enjoy watching my content. Thank you very much. Shout out to you. I convinced you to purchase a CZ75. You're welcome. The CZ75 platform is an awesome platform. If I was not shooting Berettas, I would, okay. In all honesty, I love guns. I love guns. So Beretta is my first love because I grew up, okay, so full disclosure, Beretta's probably not the best platform, but it's my favorite platform. I grew up in the 80s watching Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, RoboCop, Predator, all those 80s action movies, and the Beretta 92 was like iconic, so I'm a Beretta boy. It was like one of the first guns I ever purchased when I was able to, and it was actually the first gun I shot at an USPSA match, and Old Man Gordon, who was shooting Glock, was the first guy I ever met at a match, and he was shooting Glock 34 or something, or 35, and he told me no one shoots Berettas because double action, single action sucks and whatever. And yeah, Goldman Gordon, I'm crushing you right now. So, and I think I crushed you at that match too, as my first USPSA match. And Pistol Pete, he says, I thought Jared shot for CZ. You never shot for CZ.
Don't own one, never shot for CZ. Only Beretta.
He is but you've shot a Glock.
I started on the Glock and shot the Glock 34 until I went to a major match, and the Glock slide bite, 34 rounds through the slide bite on my hand.
Not exaggerating. So he's 6'6". How much do you weigh?
Three bills, maybe.
He's 3 bills. And his hand, I have big hands. Like, I'm looking at his hands right now, and they're ginormous. And so, like, Glocks, right? They have, like, if you get over that beaver tail, that slide is going to just cut your webbing of your hand.
Yep.
That's what happened, right?
Yep.
And so, I hate Glocks with a passion. So he shot a Glock, and then what actually switched you to a Beretta?
My partner at Ravenwing Mo let me shoot his Langdon 92, and the trigger was, in double action, it's maybe 1.5 pounds heavier than a good Glock trigger, and in single action, it's way better. And the beaver tail on the Beretta prevents me from getting slide bite, and it just fit my hands. Even with my giant hands, and some people will tell you the 92 is too short, I get a great grip, get all the right pressures in the right place. So that was when I made the switch to Beretta, made A-Class, M-Class, and now GM with the Langdon Tactical.
And Cobra is his lucky charm, because I am the only one privileged enough to be there when he made M
And GM.
and GM.
And GM, yep.
So there you go.
Langdon's optimized trigger bar. Even if you don't want an RDO, you just have a Beretta already, the single biggest upgrade you can make, Langdon's optimized trigger bar.
It's like $70.
And change your hammer spring to a 13-pound spring.
Yeah.
And your double action and single action trigger will be so much better.
So that's actually, like, long-time followers of my channel know, like, I do all the DIY stuff, right? Or DIY stuff. And, like, I think I did a top, whoa, there's a plane. We're driving, guys. There's that's like a military plane, like, flying low. Wow. Okay, anyway. So you got long-time followers know this, where my top 5 is, like, change your hammer spring for $5, right? And then, like, the Langdon trigger bar is, like, $70. That's, like, the 2 top things I tell you guys. So for $75 to $80,
use code Raven Limited.
you get 10% off, right?
10% off.
I don't even have a code for him for Langdon, so use his code. But for $75 to $80, whatever, right? Drop in parts, no gunsmithing required. Drop in parts, 20-pound spring to 14-pound spring, infinitely better. Those 2 parts. On a CZ or a Glock, you have to do so much work to get the same amount of performance back. Like, not just monetary wise, but like time wise. So for $80, those 2 parts, infinitely better. I've been shooting Berettas for all my life, basically. Jared's
3 years now.
3 years, but he's a Grandmaster Jared. I'm only Master Cobra.
I wonder if they're thinking about our buddy Tactical.
Wait, I'm crying right now. I'm crying. I'm crying about being a Master Cobra. Well, but wait a second. I'm a 4-time master. Wait, you're a 3-time master now, right? 2-time master.
We're not counting production, bro.
47%. So I'm a legitimate 4-time master. 4-time master Cobra, and this dude is 47% production. John.
Gotta love it.
Okay, so anyway, what were we
But
saying?
I'm not a gun Amish. I don't shoot that iron sight stuff. I do love the reloads. You might be thinking about our buddy Tactical Look, Jared Buford, who shoots with us sometimes. He's a CZ guy.
Yeah, that's probably the guy. Oh wait, so Pistol Pete, shout out to you again. You say Ernest Langer is a wizard for the... Yes, he is. That guy is the man. Shout out to Ernie. I've never met him. I saw him at SHOT Show once. This guy is sponsored by his company. But Ernie is the man.
People say that Ernest has taken the Beretta to its peak performance, and I could not agree more.
Okay, so here's a little history lesson for you Beretta buffs out there. So, the original Elite series, you guys may or may not know. I was going to actually do a video series on this, but so there was 3 Elites. Before the Elite LTT, there was the Elite 1, the Elite 2, actually it was Elite 1, Elite 1A, and then the Elite 2. Those were all Brigadier slides with the GD cocker. So it was GD cocker, Brigadier slide, front cocking serrations, and the only differences were in the frames. So the Elite 1 had a shortened 4.7-inch barrel, not target crowned, did not have, it had a beveled magwell, but no change to the frame in terms of front cocking serrations. The Elite 1A was the next one, which is the Vertec frame, with basically the Elite 1 slide, so it was front cocking serrations, GD cocker, Brigadier slide, and the thing with the Brigadiers is they have the front cocking, or the front slide dovetail, so you can put in a fiber optics. And then came the Elite 2, which is the no rail, but it's a 92FS with front and rear grip serrations, beveled magwell, front cocking serrations, and GD cocker with a dovetail front sight. I actually have all 3 platforms, so I am super, like, anyone knows about the Beretta forums and Beretta things, you've seen me, I have like all the Berettas. So I have the Elite 1A, Elite 1, Elite 2. I don't have an Elite LTT, but I have Elite LTT slides, because the Elite LTT is basically an M9A1 with the Vertec with front cocking serrations. So I have all of those. I have a 92X offensive, I have a 92X performance, I have basically everything that's important in Beretta's history. I have, because I love Berettas. So this guy has the Beretta LTT. So Langdon actually was the brainchild of those original Elites. It's not named after him, but he was, I think, on contract for Beretta at the time, and that was his, like, we need to come, because he was a IDPA master at that point. He was shooting competitively, and he's like, we need to come out with stuff for the Berettas, and that was like their first foray in competitive shooting. Those were like, they were production level, but they weren't like mass produced, because at that, and so Ben Steger used to shoot Elite 2. That was like his go-to gun before he switched to Tank Folios and Glocks. And like, you watch all of Ben Steger's old videos, and he's shooting Elite 2. He actually has videos talking about his Elite 2s. And that was like the go-to Beretta at that point, because it had everything you wanted. It had front dovetail front sight, so you could put a fiber optic on it. It had front cocking serrations. It had, you know, obviously the rear sight. It had front and rear grip checkering, as well as the beveled magwell. Because literally at that point, like 20 years ago, the gun industry has changed, where you buy the gun, and the gun was what it was, unless you take it to like a gunsmith, right? And there wasn't a lot of like Beretta performance parts like now. Like Langdon Tactical has came out with the LT trigger bar. Wilson Combat's come out with stuff, but Langdon was actually a contractor for Wilson Combat to help them develop some of their parts, as well as some of their trigger jobs. So Langdon's really been instrumental in developing and making the Beretta platform better than what it was. So timeline wise, like now Langdon has parts, Wilson Combat has parts, and there's a lot of aftermarket like gunsmiths. Like I have my do-it-yourself channel where you guys can do the gunsmith yourself and do stuff. But like 20 years ago, there wasn't the internet, there wasn't YouTube, there wasn't all the stuff. So literally it was like, you buy a gun and you bought that gun because it had all the features you wanted, because knowledge was like not the same as it was now. So now with the advent of the internet and like the tactical parts and Wilson Combat, whatever, Berettas have kind of like taken off. But like, you know, the OG Elites don't give credit to Langdon, and Langdon really deserves that credit, because he was like the brainchild behind all of those.
Yep. And continues to. So the way he got his slide cut done was he re-engineered the firing pin block in the Beretta, so that they could actually cut into the slide in order to mount the dot as low as possible. So if you're shooting a Beretta RDO platform without Langdon It literally sits on top of the slide. I don't know that it matters that much, but if you're used to or started in iron sights where your index is to drive the sights higher, you'll have some adjustments to make, whereas Langdon gets that about as low as you possibly can with his plate. And so the dot sits, I'm going to say it's, I don't know, it's
eighth of an inch, quarter inch. It's not a quarter inch, but it's like
it's less than a quarter inch, but
yeah.
I think it might be a
inch.
little bit more than an eighth of an inch. But
so wait a second. So going back to match performance, right? In terms of like a half inch, 3.6 match points unlimited.
3.6 match points. I will say this too. So with this being my first match with the 92X Defensive and the Langdon, it's from Langdon, so it's their trigger job, their cut. For me, it was a little bit different index than my 92 LTT Elite, and so I'm gonna have to work through that in dry fire here soon. Just a tiny bit different, but it could also be because that Magwell from Lock, like it locks your hands into the gun.
I helped design that, by the way.
Absolutely, like it is impossible to not get the same because of the size of the hand and that Magwell.
Yeah.
It is impossible to not get the same grip every time, especially with your firing hand, because there's only one place it can go.
So that was one thing that when we were developing the Magwell for lock grips, right? So lock grips asked me for feedback initially before I got a prototype, and I said, like make it as big as possible. There's no box. Like in production, there's a box. In Care Optics, there's no box. Limited Optics, there's no box. And this was before even Limited Optics thing. I was forward thinking. I said, we need a Magwell for the Beretta. Like, let's do this, right? So they developed a prototype, sent it to me, and I said, like the nice thing about the Beretta is it's actually got a shorter grip. Like when you compare it to a Shadow 2, right? The Shadow 2 is about a half inch longer, and that saves people with big hands, like that saves them beating, like when they have crappy reloads, when they don't have Master Cobra reloads, they'll hit the palm of their, like the base of their hand right there and beat it up, and they'll be bleeding, right? But when you have Master Cobra reloads, you don't have to worry about that. But when you have the Lock Grips Magwell on it gives you extra surface tension on the base of your hand, here, whenever, right? So when you grip the gun, your hand just naturally goes beaver tail, vehicle on shoulder ahead.
Yep.
He's driving, I'm not driving. And so your grip really goes between the beaver tail and the Magwell. And you really get a lot of purchase on the grip and more control. And that was something I told them. I was like, like being able to touch the Magwell is actually huge benefits, because the more surface area you have with your gun to any part of the gun gives you more control. That's why like your left hand with your thumb and how you grip it, all of that surface friction creates control. So we created a Magwell that was ginormous. The Lock Grips created it. I got the prototype. I sent feedback. They changed it to some of the feedback that I sent. But it was ginormous, and like literally it's a black hole. Like it gives you so much control over the gun.
I'll add too for Limited Optics an interesting piece about this. So we just had Tim Herron in town. Tim Herron is a single stack GM, the first GM in Limited Optics. He shoots for Nighthawk.
I was the third master in Limited Optics.
So one of Tim, like an area he chose to spend a lot of time focusing on was single hand shooting, both strong hand and weak hand, because he felt like when he went to matches or shot classifiers where that was a required skill, it was a way to differentiate yourself. So when Tim talks through his grip single-handed, whether strong or weak, he talks about the muscle in the webbing of your hand really flexing in and sort of locking it in place, and then pressure with your pinky and ring fingers on the gun to help sort of mitigate that recoil. What I've found is I return the dot a little more instantly and predictably with the Magwell on, because what Cobra's talking about in the way it locks it in, it almost forces you to flex that muscle whether you want to or not, at the top of and just underneath the beaver tail at the tang. And then because you're locking that hand in on the Magwell, the pressure is a lot easier to apply with your pinky and ring fingers, and sort of relaxing then your middle finger and your trigger finger to be able to run the trigger quickly. So if you ever want to play with how to shoot better single-handed, there's the grip secret. Go take a Tim Herron class for the rest of it. But that magwell is a bit of a cheat code for that one as well, which I thought was super interesting based off of the classifier we shot today and my results, carry optics versus limited optics.
El Strong and Weekend Presidente. I think I got 4th place, which was like 70% because it's a hard classifier. It's because you got to do left hand strong. It's strong hand and weak hand only, with the no shoot in the middle. It's actually a strong class. I'll be posting that video later, guys. Oh, so you guys know that I have 2 channels on this channel. You know, like this is my main channel. This is my coiled Cobra channel, and I have my Cobra. Well, I don't know which channel is my main channel. I have a Cobra Ready channel and a coiled Cobra channel. So this channel is my DIY stuff, and I'm doing my live streaming on it and other stuff. So my other channel is the one that has my match videos and other non-DIY stuff, because in case YouTube decides to ban me, I need a backup channel. So if you haven't already done that, go to that channel and subscribe, because YouTube bans suck. Okay, so hello. And then Pistol Pete has a question. All right. Do you think unmodified CZ Shadow 2 compact factory springs but no fire and pin block would be a concern for safety? So this is my opinion. Shadow 2 firing pin block, obviously, because you have said that in your question. There was an RO who was killed at a USPSA match about a year ago because the competitor had a Shadow 2, a full-size Shadow 2, and the full-size Shadow 2s are the same as the compact Shadow 2s, where they don't have fire and pin blocks, so they're not drop safe. So if you drop it on the hammer will engage the firing pin, which will be enough force to fire the round in the chamber. So Shadow 2s are not drop safe. The compact Shadow 2 is not drop safe. So if your concern, Pistol Pete, is drop safety, my opinion is that it is not the choice for compact carry. The Beretta 92 Compact has a firing pin block safety, so if you drop it on the hammer, Ernest Langdon has actually done drop test videos, and I cringe watching them because it's like he's dropping these beautiful guns from like 6 feet, and I'm just like face palming myself, right? But he has to do it to prove a point, right? Where the Beretta 92 literally is one of the safest double action, single action pistols out there because of the firing pin block safety. It's actually genius. So no, the Shadow 2 Compact is not drop safe, because they've done tests where people have been killed by people dropping their Shadow 2s in matches. And granted, okay, so when you're a competitive shooter, you do aftermarket mods to make it less safe, because you may put in a extended firing pin, lighter firing spring. But all in all, if you have a firing pin block engaging the firing pin when the firing, it will never be drop safe. No matter how heavy your springs are, the amount of force when you drop from 6 feet, 5 feet, whatever, onto concrete will fire the gun. And they've actually like had videos of other people where they'll like take a hammer and they'll just like tap a Shadow 2, like with the run in the chamber, like hammer down, and it fires. So I personally have not done this myself, but I've seen videos, and because there has been someone killed at a USPSA match, Shadow 2s are not drop safe. So if that is your concern, I would not buy. If safety is your concern, don't buy a Shadow 2, because it's not drop safe. Okay, Matt comes in with a question. Matt with no last name says, I don't know what this is, Dial Designs. Have you heard of that? No. Okay. Low OEM slide mount. Okay, good for them. I haven't seen it. I haven't used it. I don't know. Okay, free shout out for them, because I don't know who they are, but yeah.
Now I'll go look it up.
Yeah, well, now we'll have to look it up, exactly. So, I personally, on my gun, small time guy makes rear dumb mounts. Okay, thanks, Matt. Me personally, on my two guns, so I use the 92X Performance Gen 1, which does not have the Beretta audio solution, so I actually have to use the Tony Systems Dovetail. So that was my first performance. I have a bunch of performances. So I knocked out the Dovetail, put in the Tony Systems, put on the Romeo 3 XL. That's my main gun. My backup gun is the 92X Defensive with their audio cut. So the Gen 2 92X Performance has the audio cut, and then the 92X Defensive has the same audio cut, which is the same as the 92X and the M94. That's the Beretta solution versus the Langdon solution. So I use the Tony Systems mounting plate for the defensive, and the Romeo 3 XL has the largest footprint of any red dot there is. I mean, it's ginormous, right?
In terms of width.
In terms of front back width, right? Not width, but I don't know if that's width. It's not girth.
Left to right.
Well, front to back.
Left to right,
well, everything.
Biggest view, but the Holosun 507.
No, but I'm talking about the footprint, right?
Oh yes.
Like the actual footprint is ginormous.
Yes.
Like so it's, the front back is ginormous. It's bigger than the Seymour, which is pretty big. So even though it's the same like screw hole panner as the Seymour, it's like longer, not wider. So it's the same width but longer. I just love it because the window is the biggest window there is. It does seat higher, but again, like when we're talking, like, this is my personal opinion about red dots, right? So everyone says, oh, you need low and bore axis and whatever, right? But when you look at open shooters, the bore axis on your red dot and open shooter, like they have it frame mounted above the slide and it's like really high. So the holdover on red dots on pistol, my personal opinion, it doesn't matter. It's skill that matters. So people who talk about bore axis, whatever, go shoot more, put your money into ammo and training versus like worrying about your red dot. So 3.6 match points. 3.6 mofo. 3.6 match points. So yeah. So bore height, whatever. So it has a high. It's high, but the Beretta solution is fine. So Matt has another question. He says, "What is my opinion on the 92 Extreme or LTT kit?" Okay, guys, we kind of talked about this earlier. Where the most important part to upgrade, two most important parts to upgrade on your Berettas are the hammer spring for $5. Change it out from the stock spring to like a 14-pound, 12 to 14-pound spring, depending on if it's duty or competition. And then the trigger bar. Langdon Tactical Trigger Bar is the best trigger bar you can buy. There's a Wilson Combat trigger bar. There's also the 92X trigger bar. I have all of them. The Langdon Tactical Trigger Bar is the best trigger bar there is. It reduces over travel. It makes your single action reset ridiculously stupid. And it's a drop-in part for $70. You don't need literally any skill to do this. Like if you have any mechanical skills to be able to take out two screws, take out a spring, and remove a part, you can do this yourself. Drop-in part. Save yourself money from gunsmiths. Yes. And so Matt says, understood, you're on it. Go do that. Okay, Pistol Pete, you have a question. Let me read this. I have glasses on. I think Tangfo has better firing pin block than CZ. The trigger has less creep and no recoil pin, and you can easily remove the firing pin and spring like it. Okay, Pistol Pete, I have a Tangfoil stock too. So to answer that question, or it's not a question, that's your opinion. So I have stock twos. I love stock twos. I actually love the Tangfolio stock twos balance because it's actually shorter. Bull barrel, shorter frame, and has really nice weight balance. The grip is really nice. The thing about Tangfolios is they're very finicky with ammo and with their hammer springs, because the way that their size of a normal hammer spring is the way it fits into the frame, that you need to have, and then also you'd be using truncated cone ammo on tank folios because of the throating on tank folios. So you can't use factory ammo, round nose or rounded nose ammo on tank folios. You have to have truncated cone because of the throating, or you have to get your barrel reamed by a gunsmith to be able to use factory ammo on a tank folio. Tank folios are sweet guns. They're Italians. We just had pizza. We love pizza. Pizza is Italian. And Berettas are Italian. Ferraris are Italian. And tank folios are Italian. So we love Italian things. I don't have a Ferrari, but I would like one. Anyway, so going off topic, Italian stuff is cool. So anyway, yes, tank folios are Italian. Italians are cool guns. They have great grips, but compared to Berettas will pretty much eat anything. They're very, very reliable, and I think the tank folios, to get the trigger as good, tank folios have really good triggers when they're tuned. The factory trigger on tank folio, quite honestly, is complete dog doo-doo, because tank folios have more stacking because of how short their hammer spring is, versus like a Beretta has a longer spring which has less stacking. And Big J here is like, he has no experience with tank folios.
That's correct.
The points and limited optics this weekend. Coming to an end of this because we're old. And so, anything left to say?
Enjoy matches. If you guys haven't gotten out, go shoot a match.
And Cobra's awesome.
Yep, Cobra's awesome. Check us out at RavenWingLimited.com if you want to train with us. You can find me at Ravenwing or at on IG at Jared_RW. And we also have a podcast, and we will get Cobra there soon. It's called A Conspiracy of Ravens. We've got JJ Ricazza, Scott Jedlinski, Tim Herron, AJ Zito, ton of great shooters on there. We're always trying to pass on a little bit of knowledge to help you be better.
I just got invited to the Ravenwing broadcast. I shamed him into inviting me by doing a live stream on YouTube. Awesome. All right, guys, we're going to be signing off. All right, Pistol Pete, thank you. You say drive safe, gentlemen. Awesome. Thank you, Pistol Pete. Thank you, Matt, and thank you, everyone, with your awesome questions. We're going to be doing this more often after matches because we have a 2.5-hour drive, at least once a month, with big Grandmaster Giant here. And Matt, thank you for that. Yeah. All right, guys, take it easy.